Welcome, everybody, to the CFL Weekly Pick'em Show on the Grizzly True Sports Network. We are Week 13, and CFL Weekly Pick'em Show, as always, is brought to you by BetNow.eu. Make sure you go use the promo code TRUTH50 at BetNow.eu to get a 50% cashback bonus on your first deposit up to $1,000, or click the banner at the top of the GrizzlyTruth.com page. I am your co-host for the CFL Weekly Pick'em Show, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I would like to welcome in my other two co-hosts. First up, the Vice President of Business Operations for the NAL champions last year and should have been this year, but there's some stupid-ass officials out there. Brian Schmidt. How you doing, Schmitty?
I'm doing good. Until I just had to revisit that game.
I did throw in the stupid-ass officials, though.
I appreciate that because that about covers it.
All right. And next up, we have a man who loves it when I call him a legend because it makes him feel older than what he really is. Help me welcome to the show former Syracuse star, Robert Drummond. How you doing, Robert?
Doing pretty good. You know, it's starting to get cold up here in Syracuse, so that's not a good sign.
Yeah, but Syracuse is undefeated. Didn't they shut out Liberty in the first game?
Yeah, there are quite a lot of teams that are undefeated at 1-0.
Hey, look at it like this. So half the teams are winless.
That's true. I mean, what a crazy stat line. At the beginning of Monday, Tuesday, Syracuse was favored by 3 points. You know, as of the day, Syracuse, is an underdog by 2 points.
A lot of money came in on Maryland. It should be a good game. I think Syracuse can take them now.
Should be a very good game.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and let's start off with the Winnipeg-Saskatchewan game because this was an interesting game. We thought it would be a great game, and it was. Brett Lothar kicked a 26-yard game-winning field goal with no time on the clock, leading the Rough Riders to a 19-17 win over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers to start off the Labor Day weekend. When we look at this game, I don't know what impresses me the most, Robert, the fact that Saskatchewan beat a really good Winnipeg team, or the fact that Winnipeg, it took a last-second field goal to beat them with their backup quarterback still playing, Chris Strevler.
Saskatchewan, what a momentum, shift, and Winnipeg being the dominant team, and Saskatchewan, eking out a win. This late in the season, that's going to reign huge because, now they know they're beatable. And as you said, with a quarterback, I can't even pronounce his name.
Chris Strevler?
Strevler had a very, very good game. It just when you look at games like this, it makes you think of how close it's going to be and how much depth there is really in the CFL as far as teams. We always think to the teams at the top. The teams like the Calgary. The team like Edmonton. There's always been a top tier teams. And when teams like Saskatchewan or Winnipeg or Hamilton can start flexing that muscle and prove that they can play also, it makes this league very, very interesting. And that's why I like the CFL a lot more than the NFL because there's so much parity in the CFL. It makes it much more fun to watch.
All right, Brian, Cody Fajardo. I guess I'm saying that right. I've tried to steer away from it as much as I could this year in the hopes that maybe he wouldn't be that good, but he's a solid quarterback. Did turn the ball over a couple times, but Saskatchewan's the hottest team in the CFL right now with William Powell running the ball, the way Fajardo's throwing it, and the way that Saskatchewan defense is playing. This is a team that's going to have to be dealt with at the end of the season, I think.
Yeah, and your last point was the key point, the way their defense is playing. They threw a couple interceptions, but the defense always seems to bail them out, and they make enough plays on offense to do enough to win a football game, and that's what you got to do. It's not always simple. It's not always easy, but if your defense plays well, your special teams play as well, your offense doesn't have to score 30 points, you can win some football games.
All right, and that brings us to the Hamilton Ticats, who I think them in Winnipeg and Saskatchewan, of course, but Winnipeg and Hamilton are doing this with backup quarterbacks for the most part. And the Ticats have raced a 13-point halftime deficit. Furious second half comeback led by Dane Evans again, who ended up throwing for 442 yards, 2 touchdowns, completed 83% of his passes. Brian, do they need Jeremiah Masoli?
Well, he's trying to prove they don't. But a couple interceptions he threw. But bottom line, in the second half, what a difference between the first half and the second half. Toronto looked very un-Toronto-like, and in the first half, just playing great football, and then in the second half, Hamilton comes out and just puts it on them. So very entertaining game. Certainly, it was a very entertaining game. But I'll tell you, you got to give this Hamilton team some credit. They just keep finding ways to win football games.
Yeah, and Jackson Bennett was huge. 12 carries, 77 yards. Evans, of course, with the big game. And Robert, is this more of Toronto's just a young team trying to find their way? They played a great first half, couldn't finish the game, which a lot of younger teams do. They had James Wilder back. What's your takeaway here? Because Toronto's still battling, but they're still coming up short.
You know what? I give them a lot of credit for going out there and battling. As you said, Wilder's back, but they only have I think he had something like seven or 8 carries. It's just not enough. I mean, for an offense, and they were explosive that first half. It's just to jump on, Hamilton, that early, be up by 15 points, going in at halftime. It's just, I was shocked, but it's a tale of two halves. Football's not played in just 2 quarters. It's a 4-quarter game. I give those guys a lot of credit, and I give Duffel Thompson a lot of credit also, for going out there and having an amazing game. What he didn't do, was turn the ball over. So he put them in a position to win. But, unfortunately, the game's played in 3 phases: offense, defense, and special teams, And this was one they let get away. But I give those guys a lot of credit because, as I said before, sitting at 1-9, it's got to be tough in that locker room. I mean, that's got to hurt. I've never been on a team that's been that bad before, but I know it's got to hurt. I mean, I think that the worst I've had was a 2-game losing streak before, and that's frustrating. I can only imagine having 9 losses.
All right, yeah, but at least they are battling. And next up, I'm trying to be positive for you, Robert. Next up, Bo Levi Mitchell looks sharp at his return to action as the Calgary Stampeders defeated Edmonton Eskimos 25-9 to close out a great Labor Day weekend in the CFL. Mitchell threw for 263 yards and a touchdown while completing 19 of his 28 passes in his first game back since his Week 3 injury. So does this mean Calgary is back, Robert, or do you need to see more first?
I mean, Calgary's never went anywhere. I mean, as I said before, what gets a team motivated and it gets the ball rolling, and allows you to be able to, control time of possession, control the ebb and flow of the game, control the, meanness and toughness of the game. It's a ground game. But carry to go out there and have, 143 yards, it just averaged close to almost 10 yards a carry. That sets your offense up to be in a position to be able to score points, move the ball downfield, and sets the tone for the game. I've always said this. It's a passing league, but if you have a good ground game, you set yourself up to put yourself in a position to be not just good in the playoffs, but win the Grey Cup.
Yeah, and the thing here is this. Mitchell played really well for his first game back, but I think the big story here is Kadeem Carey with 16 carries for 143 yards.
I mean, as I said before, a ground game, because Flutie used to tell me that it's Flutie, Tracy M, and Damon Allen, 3 Hall of Famers would always tell me that you set the tone for a game by how you run the ball and how you and how you put us in second and short situations. And that always stuck with me. So as a running back, you want to be able to get 5 yards, 6 yards, 7 yards. So now you put yourself in a position on offense to have second down and short. It's a huge difference and completely changes the outcome, or the dynamics of how you call your plays. And they did a great job. And if Calgary can do this, for the rest of these few games into the playoffs, and onto the Grey Cup, they're going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, and the thing about that, Brian, is we talk Calgary they weren't playing terrible with Arbuckle in, but I think what you see when you get a starting quarterback that returns like this, the confidence level of the entire team, even the defense, has to kind of skyrocket.
Yeah, they were, a confident team when you have your quarterback back, but it just shows how good Calgary is because they can beat you offensively, ground game. They can beat you in the air. They can have the balance, but they can also beat you defensively. Trevor Harris, by all rights, I mean, he completed 77% of his passes, but no touchdowns, one interception. He only threw for 216 yards. C.J. Gable, I think his longest run the whole game was 7 yards. They took them out of the game defensively, and offensively, Calgary has always been efficient on offense. Whatever they need to do, whether they can be balanced, they can throw for 400 yards, they could rush for a couple hundred yards. They are always that team, and again, now that Mitchell's back, they can become a very dangerous team.
Yeah, and the thing for Edmonton's a team that on paper should be one of the best teams, but right now, Robert, they're sitting at 6-5 in fourth in the Western Division. So, what's going on here? Because Trevor Harris has played well all year, and they're still only a game over 500.
Yeah, I mean these are not your typical, Edmonton, Calgary teams. They're usually dominant and the cream of the crop, and they start flexing their muscle around this time. But it's going to be interesting. Like I said, there's so much parity in the CFL the last couple of years that it's always fun and always interesting to watch. Never count Edmonton out, just like you could never count Calgary out.
Yeah, especially with Trevor Harris, who I think is,
yes.
And C.J. Gable, and defensively, they're a solid team. So if they end up being the 4 there, I mean, I'd hate to be the team they have to play in the first round, even if you're hosting them. All right, let's go to Week 13 and pick the games. And since it's a former Robert Drummond team, we're going to go with the BC Lions at the Montreal Alouettes first, Robert.
Montreal.
I agree.
I just don't have any faith in BC. They're a mess.
Yeah, and this is actually, to me, I mean, coming off a bye week, this is a game where Montreal could be caught maybe napping a little bit, Brian. I think this is a huge game for them to come out and get it over with quickly and just make a statement.
It is because they've played with such momentum. Then you have the bye week. Now you've got to keep that going. It's great that they're playing BC. BC is not very good, but this is not the game you want to have a slip up. So I would expect them to come out guns blazing and really try to put this thing away as quickly as possible. So I'm going to take Montreal. I just think BC is becoming they are a lost cause right now.
All right, next up, another one of Robert's former teams that aren't doing near as well as they did when Robert was there. The Toronto Argonauts at the Ottawa Redblacks. I'm going to start this off for you, Robert. I'm picking Toronto to finally finish a game. What do you think?
You know what? They've been playing well the last couple of weeks, and Ottawa's been going the opposite direction. I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to pick Toronto to win this game also. They've been playing with heart, and I can respect that. I think these guys have been playing with heart the rest of the season. They're going to sneak a couple of wins, and I think this is one of them.
All right. Brian, you agree with us, or you're going with Ottawa?
No, I'm going to agree with you guys. For some reason, when I was looking at this, I was thinking, boy, if he picks me first, I'm going to pick Toronto, and I'm probably going to hear a lot of crap about it. But no, I agree. I'm going to take Toronto as well. I just think that they're primed to get one, and Ottawa is so, crazy. They can look good one week, although not as much this year. But I just got a feeling I think Toronto's going to win that.
All right, next up, I think we have the game of the week, a rematch, Saskatchewan at Winnipeg, Brian.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be another great game, and I'm going to take Winnipeg. I want to take Saskatchewan, but I think just because they are so close, I'm going to give the home advantage to Winnipeg to win this in another close game.
All right, Robert.
Only because it's a game, it's a week apart, and it's hard to beat a team, back-to-back games. So I'm going to take Winnipeg, and the game was so close, and right now the Blue Bombers are smarting, and that little extra bit of incentive, is enough, I think, to give them a touchdown win in this game. 6 or 7 points. So I'm going to go with Winnipeg.
All right, I'm going to go with Winnipeg also for the same reasons. I think these teams are fairly evenly matched, so I'm going to go with the home team. It's hard to beat a team 2 weeks in a row, I would think. Next up, the Calgary Stampeders at the Edmonton Eskimos. Robert.
Calgary. I mean, it's time for Calgary, and
yeah, but it would be twice in a row, and you guys just went off on this how hard it is to do that twice.
But it's like saying it was the Patriots, but this is not Rough Riders or the Blue Bombers. This is the Stampeders we're talking about. It's tradition, and with Calgary, Calgary's a different monster when it comes to the CFL. You know, they really are. You know, I mean, when I played out there in the West with BC, whenever we played against Calgary, I'd always just just give a sigh because I know I would have to butt heads with the likes of Alonzo Johnson, you know, who just gave me fits all the time because they're mean, hard-nosed, tough. They didn't make mistakes, and they were just winners. And when you play up against an organization like that, they play for the love of the sea and the team, and it's just hard to beat an organization like that. That's why I always have a lot of respect for the Calgary Stampeders. They're not my favorite team, of course. Toronto and BC are, but I have a lot of respect for the Calgary Stampeders. I have a lot of respect for the entire league.
All right,
but I'm going with Calgary.
All right, Brian.
Yeah, I'm going to go against it here. I'm going to say Calgary as well. They're a different team than so many, and these back-to-back games, they just don't seem to be bothered by that like other teams are. So I'll take Calgary.
All right, what the hell? I did it last week and I was wrong. I'm going to do it again until I'm right. I'm going to take the Edmonton Eskimos to win the game. What the hell? I was already been wrong once. We can even it up, and if we're even, I just picked the underdog, so that means I win. All right, guys. Any final words, Brian?
No, not really. Just we're getting to that time of the year where things are going to start heating up. So I expect a lot of these games to be pretty competitive.
Yeah, and Robert, same thing, parting words, but the thing that stands out to me before you do, and maybe you can touch on it, is just how deep the 6 teams that look like they're going to be the playoff teams are, and really, I think anybody's got a chance to win this.
You know what's going to be very interesting now is how these teams get players now who are released from the NFL to come onto their team who are in shape or who are stars who left to try to shot at the NFL but didn't quite make it and now coming back, and we'll be able to plug them in and make a good team a little bit more dynamic. So that'll be very, very interesting to see what happens in the next couple of weeks as that pans out.
All right, guys. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. As always, we will be back next Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. Remember, you can hear all of our shows on iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you find podcasts. You'll find The Grueling Truth. So for Robert Drummond, Brian Schmidt, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.